and members of parliament. My name is Samuel Were Wandera, the executive director of the Financial Intelligence Authority. I've come with a team. Immediate to my left is Mr. Barige Cyrus, the commissioner in charge of ICT, followed by Besige Bright.
Did I hear you well?
Besige Bright,
Okay.
who is the manager, international relations.
Followed by BCJ, director,
Is the manager, international relations.
manager, international relations. Yes?
Followed by Peter Dokas,
Yes.
is the
Dokas.
commissioner, legal and
Yes.
corporate services
Welcome.
and international relations. Followed by Mr. Wako Livingstone,
Yes.
the commissioner, internal audit,
Yes.
and followed by Zaina Bwami, who is the is the senior assistant to the executive director.
Oh. Okay.
Chair, allow me and members add my voice
Yes.
to the invitation which you gave us to come and say a few things on the protection of sovereignty bill 2026. Chair, the mandate of the Financial Intelligence Authority is given to us by the Anti-Money Laundering Act CAP 118, and our core mandate is to combat money laundering, financing of terrorism, and proliferation financing. And Chair, for us to be able to undertake this assignment, we collect and analyze all the financial data to detect illegal activities like money laundering, fraud, terrorism financing, and other crimes which generate proceeds which are laundered. Government relies on this intelligence to maintain economic stability and national security. Chair, we identify suspicious transactions and we track criminal networks, and therefore this helps to reveal the threats to national security, organized crimes, and terrorism financing. Chair, in line with that, we responded to the request which you gave us, and there are 3 areas which we are going to address ourselves. Chair, notwithstanding all what has been said, our presentation was in the likelihood that this bill continues to be enacted as law. We have concerns with specific areas which we think this area should be addressed. And Chair, we have issue on the interpretation of agent of a foreigner and a foreigner. And Chair, we think that this definition should be harmonized with the existing anti-money laundering legislation to avoid ambiguity in reporting obligations by the accountable persons as specified in the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Chair, if the definition remains as it is, it's going to cause a lot of confusion, especially to those entities which has a mandate. And Chair, we have an opinion that there should be exemptions in terms of the entities which are operating in the country. Chair, we moved straight to clause 14. Most of our submission relate to those specific clauses which have effect on our mandate. Chair, there is a registration of agent of a foreigner and specifically, it talks about a person shall not act as an agent of a foreigner unless the person is registered with the department and issued with a certificate of registration by the minister. This is something which we feel that we should have exemptions like the governor has indicated, especially the supervised financial institutions, because there is an elaborate processes which provide for this. So the Financial Intelligence Authority regulates entities that facilitate financial transactions, and this is through working closely with the supervised financial institutions to determine customer due diligence and disclosure of beneficial owners' information. This bill, if remains as it is, will create parallel registration regimes and will duplicate regulatory oversight, which is likely to cause confusion within the operations of the different players. Chair, we propose that the bill should be harmonized with the existing legal and regulatory framework on licensing and registration, especially those under the purview of the supervisory institutions or supervisory bodies. The bill should provide for access to information on whichever definition they will have come up with on foreign agent transactions upon request or spontaneously reported by the law enforcement agencies, because there is a mechanism through which government can get this information within the regulated systems. Chair, the justification is that the supervisory bodies and supervisory institutions are required by law to keep and maintain information which will be including these foreigners and agents of foreigners as per the definition which we would have come up with. So we don't need to have these parallel registration regimes and duplicate the regulatory oversight, since we already have. Chair, we move to clause 21, and this is the one which talks about the declaration of the source of funding. And Chair, this is our cardinal mandate and principle, where we require all transactions, both domestic and those which are coming from foreign jurisdictions, to be declared by those entities which process. And Chair, when you look at the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Section 9, subsection 1, it provides for reporting obligations by accountable persons, and it requires that each cash and monetary transactions involving a domestic or foreign currency exceeding 1,000 currency points, which is equivalent to 20 million Uganda shillings, should be declared and sent to the Financial Intelligence Authority using a Form A, as may be appended to the regulations made by the minister on the advice of the authority. Chair, we are proceeding to require that all the international wire transfers are also declared. This does not matter on the threshold of the 20 million which I alluded to, but this will enable us to capture all transactions which are destined to Uganda in that requirement. So to make it specifically, currently it is being implemented by the financial institutions, but we are proposing an amendment in the Anti-Money Laundering Act to have it also as part of the provisions. But the banks are complying because we have, through the guidelines, require them to declare international wire transfers. And Chair, that would be the only missing link where transactions of cross-border in nature, which could have a small loophole because the law provided for the 20 million threshold, but like I indicated, we are also able to get all the inflows in the country, and therefore there is no gap in terms of government getting access to all transactions which are coming from foreign jurisdictions to this country and the funds which are destined to other jurisdictions from Uganda. So all the cross-border transactions are therefore accurately and timely reported and monitored by the Financial Intelligence Authority. Chair, when we move to clause 21, a declaration submitted under section 1 shall be available for inspection at the office of the minister and the department may allow access by payment of a fee prescribed under this act. Chair, access of financial information by members of the public upon payment of a prescribed fee is irregular. It's very, very irregular because it breaches confidentiality clauses, data privacy and protection laws, and the Anti-Money Laundering Act, among others. Access should be provided only to law enforcement agencies for purposes of investigations and to the competent authorities for licensing and regulation by supervisory bodies. It is very, very irregular for a member of public to pay a fee to access private information, which is at the Ministry of Internal Affairs. I don't think that should be proper, and that should be removed in the requirements. Clause 22, restrictions on funding from foreigners. Under the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Cap 118, financial flows are not pre-approved, but monitored, and the suspicious ones are the ones which are supposed to be reported or followed by the government. The FIA relies on a risk-based post-transactions monitoring reporting system, and therefore, what the bill is proposing is that this risk-based post-transaction system are replaced with the executive pre-clearance, which will require somebody to seek clearance from the ministry to be able to transact. Such undefined discretion may undermine lawful financial transactions. Therefore, this should be considered for appropriate address. So, Chair, the provisions of the bill should be harmonized with the existing anti-money laundering legislations, such that if this bill is to continue to address those issues of concern. In terms of clause 24, foreign funding to government institutions, we have no comment. Clause 25 is about reporting foreign funding. The mandatory periodic reporting, which the bill is proposing, is a preserve. For example, it is only the Financial Intelligence Authority which has the mandate to receive suspicious transaction reports, and international standards require that such transactions should be reported in one center. So the bill will therefore create dual reporting obligations for supervised institutions, and therefore there is need for these provisions to be harmonized with the Anti-Money Laundering Act, which allows only FIA to receive, process, analyze, and disseminate this received information to competent law authorities in Uganda. In Section 21D of the AMLA, the mandate is also given to FIA to make the information collected by it available to competent authorities and to facilitate the administration and enforcement of laws of Uganda. Therefore, there are sufficient provisions for government to receive this information if it needs, and this should be aligned. If there are any other gaps, the Anti-Money Laundering Act can be reinforced to cover some of the missing areas which necessitate government to enact another law which seems to be having similar provisions and similar intentions as the Anti-Money Laundering Act. And Chair, when you look at clause 27, this is the final one we are submitting, assistance to the minister. The bill should be harmonized with other existing laws to widen the scope, which requires ministries, departments, and agencies to accord the minister the necessary assistance for purposes of giving full effect to the bill. Otherwise, as it is, it will contradict other provisions which don't require certain information to be shared as is. In conclusion, Chair and members, we feel that the current Anti-Money Laundering Act as is sufficient to provide the information which this bill is seeking to get by registering and tracking cross-border movement. I submit.
Thank you, Samuel Were Wandera and your team. Honorable colleagues, yes?
Chair, the consequences, we call them unintended consequences, which this bill might introduce. And Chair, of course, given the good intentions at the Financial Intelligence Authority, we think that this bill may create some unintended consequences, which will be increased informality and illegal channels of financial inflows into the country, such as alternative value transfer systems, including the use of the hawalas, the virtual assets, and this may obscure the visibility of such transactions by law enforcement agencies. Chair, it has also been indicated that there are likely to be reduction in remittances by Ugandans in the diaspora. There is also likely to be economic disruptions. And Chair, the mandate overlap, which may create institutional conflict during implementation, and the issues of de-risking and financial exclusion, as banks and other accountable persons may consider such persons as high risk. So these are some of, Chair, the consequences which might be created by enacting this bill as
Okay.
is.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, I think we have kept here the governor and the team longer. I'll accept 4